Anderson Silva calls for historic fight with Conor McGregor. Former champ accepts. Anderson Silva has talked about fighting Conor McGregor before, and now the legend's proposing a showdown with the former champ once again. Is McGregor down? Apparently so. The 45-year-old Silva hasn't competed now since May 2019 when he lost via TKO to Jared Cannonier. The former middleweight champ injured his knee in the fight, and Silva was sidelined for a while as a result. Well, fast forward to today, and the star is calling for a bout with McGregor. Recently, Silva shared out this challenge on Instagram. Super fight, 176.37 pounds. I have an immense admiration for the great athlete Conor, and I believe that a super fight would be something historic for the sport. Neither of us need to prove anything to anyone. I believe UFC and sport fans would like to see this great martial arts show. Testing my martial skills with him would be fantastic. The respect here is reciprocated by McGregor, as not long ago he named Silva as the greatest fighter of all time. While letting folks know who he believes is the GOAT, McGregor tweeted out the following proclamation. The array of finishes across 2 divisions with champion status in one, Anderson Silva is #1 MMA GOAT. My array of finishes across 3 divisions with champion status in 2, I'm #2, if not tied 1. However, still active, #1 is fully secured by career end, and easily. McGregor's GOAT list aside, how does he feel about facing Silva? Well, following the legend's challenge, McGregor tweeted this: I accept. So could this fight happen? Well, there's a few things to consider here. On one hand, a lot of people would likely be interested in seeing McGregor battle the storied fighter, but are more people interested in this fight in 2020 than, say, McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal or McGregor versus Nate Diaz 3? Maybe not, right? Further, you have to really wonder if the UFC wants to risk McGregor losing to the legend. Silva is far removed from his prime, but he's considerably taller and bigger than McGregor. If McGregor wins, people will say he defeated an aging star. If he loses, buzz for McGregor fighting for the lightweight title, whether it's against Justin Gaethje or Khabib Nurmagomedov, will definitely take a hit. But what do you guys think? Do you want to see McGregor throw hands with Silva? And who do you think would win the all-star bout?
So Conor and I have not talked about fighting. I know that Conor's going back. If you're Conor and you're sitting home, I mean, everybody's calling you out in every weight division. I'm waiting, who's next? I'm waiting for a friggin',
Volkanovski, Henry Cejudo, all those guys, I'm sure.
Cormier. I mean, who's going to call him out next? It's crazy.
Anderson Silva called him out this morning.
Right, and Conor and his personality, he's going to respond to you. Conor and I have not talked about a fight. I think what Conor needs to do, sit back, let a lot of these fights start rolling, and obviously the most important division, the 55-pound division, and see what plays out for him.
Jorge Masvidal claims Kamaru Usman's asking for too much money. Gamebred believes Nate Diaz is down to fight again. For weeks, Jorge Masvidal and Kamaru Usman have been trading verbal shots, and there are plenty of signs pointing to a showdown between the two. But more recently, Masvidal has floated fighting Nate Diaz again, and Usman's called for a fight with Conor McGregor. So what gives? Well, according to Masvidal, Usman is demanding too much money from the UFC. Masvidal has been knocking on the welterweight title shot door for some time now on account of his memorable run in 2019, just last year. Gamebred campaigned for a fight with McGregor, but as it looked like that fight would not materialize, his feud with Usman ratcheted it up. As a result, earlier in the year, Dana White said that the UFC was hoping to have Masvidal challenge the welterweight champ this summer. But more recently, Usman has claimed that it's Masvidal who is holding up that fight, and he's been calling out McGregor. So due to all of this, when Masvidal talked to ESPN's Ariel Helwani this week, he was of course asked what's going on. The rugged vet proceeded to make the following claim.
Kamaru, who's asked for an insane amount of money, he had one of the worst pay-per-view cards of 2019. I had the best. This is by numbers. It's not an opinion. I had the most sold pay-per-views of 2019. So he thinks he's hit the jackpot, and he was asking crazy money for the UFC. The UFC told him no on several occasions.
What do you guys think? Do you think Usman is really demanding a lot of cash? Or could Masvidal be exaggerating all this in an effort to secure a bigger payday via a rematch with Diaz? Gamebred has repeatedly said that he wants to score the biggest paying fights possible, but he's also continually said he's more than willing to face Usman at some juncture. So when Masvidal was asked about whether he thinks he'll be fighting this July as he hopes and who it will be against, the Miami star said this.
I don't know, man. To tell you the truth, I'm being honest with you. Don't think Nate has a problem going it out, man. I think Nate's ready to go, and he'd be willing to go. Usman's asking for, go, you know, people in the UFC, go find out how much money he's asking for. He's asking for an absurd amount of money. An absurd amount of money. The UFC has said, that, bro, who are you, man? How could you ask for this amount of money guaranteed when you're not a draw, man? You're not a draw. You're not a household name. Nobody knows you. Even the hardcores in the sport don't care for you, man. He doesn't have like a commanding force, like, hey, I could at least bring 300,000 pay-per-views, blah, blah, blah. No, he doesn't do that. So,
who would you guys rather see Masvidal fight next, Usman or Diaz for a second time?
Yeah, you know, it's one of the, he came out yesterday and said that I'm lying. What would I lie for? I mean, I'm sitting here telling you guys that Jon Jones, you know, I think there's no debate. There's Jon Jones is the best ever. The sad part about the Jon Jones story is, while we're saying this guy's the GOAT, you still look at the potential and what Jon Jones could have been, you know, had he done all the right things. And, you know, the truth is the guy wants a ton of money. Apparently, he doesn't think it's an obscene amount of money. He has a contract. He has a deal to fight. We always told him, if you want to move up to heavyweight, absolutely, we would make a new deal with you to move up to heavyweight. That was factored in when we just did his new deal. So let's say, he said, you know what, we factored that in when we did the new deal, but I now want more money. Okay, John, what do you want? That's literally the way we've always dealt with Jon Jones. And, you know, he's asking for an amount of money that it's not going to happen. And this happens a lot behind the scenes. I try to explain to fans, when you see, you know, Twitter battles going on social media and like, oh, I'll fight him. Yeah, these guys say that, but behind the scenes is, yeah, I'll fight him for another $5 million or something. You know what I mean? And let me just put it to you this way. Jon Jones wasn't asking for $5 million more. He was asking for an obscene amount of money. And if Jon Jones wants to speak publicly and say what the number was, that's up to him.
Ben Askren shares out his GOAT list and why Conor McGregor isn't on it. There's been lots of talk and debate going on recently regarding who is the greatest fighter of all time. A lot of the recent discussion has been on account of Conor McGregor, who recently shared out his list and his contention that he's close to becoming the GOAT. Well, since then, Ben Askren also posted his GOAT list, and the former ONE FC and Bellator champ also explained why McGregor isn't on it. Not long ago, McGregor buzzed the MMA world and sparked various debates when he tweeted out his GOAT rankings. A key reason being that, according to McGregor, he's already either number 2 or tied with Anderson Silva for the number 1 spot. Here's what the controversial fighter tweeted out. The array of finishes across 2 divisions with champion status in 1, Anderson Silva is number 1 MMA GOAT. My array of finishes across 3 divisions with champion status in 2, I'm number 2, if not tied 1. However, still active, number 1 is fully secured by career end and easily. GSP is in at 3, much less array of finishes, but champion status in 2. He is far behind though. Reasons equal, left 170 after much damage taken, plus questionable decision. Never re-engaged 170-pound successors, bottled Anderson fight. Only moved when one-eyed fighter presented. Played safe. John is 4, maybe tied 3. More array of finishes than 3 and still active, but champion status in just 1. Reasons equal, multiple lackluster decision performances, plus questionable decision win. Attempting to safe play heavyweight entry / avoiding its champion. I didn't mention PED results on multiple entrants, even though that makes me the clear current number 1 MMA GOAT, along with still being active. Although it shames as well as puts all runs plus finishes in complete doubt, I've snored multiple juice heads. A true GOAT must do it all. Well, Askren clearly sees things a wee bit differently than McGregor. Recently, the retired fighter and decorated wrestler tweeted out his GOAT list, and he mentioned the likes of George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, Demetrius Johnson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Jon Jones, Daniel Cormier, and Henry Cejudo. 7 people in discussion for MMA GOAT. Some have much better cases than others, but all have cases. Fedor and BJ would have had cases had they retired earlier. GSP, Anderson, DJ, Khabib, Jon Jones, DC, Henry. When asked by a fan why McGregor's not on his list, Askren said this: Conor never defended either of his belts and lost to Nate Diaz takes him out of conversation. What do you guys think? Does Askren have a point? While Diaz is extremely tough and talented, he does have 12 losses on his record. And do you think defending the title should be part of the criteria when evaluating someone's GOAT status? Or do you think Conor has a case for being in the top 5, and by the time his career is done, he could be sitting in the #1 spot?